Hey guys, we just wrapped up our live session and we're trading IONQ. If you're wondering about whether IONQ is a good investment or not, one thing to consider is the recent announcements they've had in their quarter one earnings. And on top of that, what's going to give you a really good idea for the next few months or years is looking at some of the developments they've had recently. So in this video, we're going to uncover some of the things we're seeing with IONQ. If we head over to our quantum AI list, started trading them really back in October and November, and we saw it go up to $54 from really back here around under $10 a share. And then recently it started surging. Yesterday we got into a trade. Our average purchase price, it was right here in the market close earnings call. If you're wondering how you can trade not just at market open, but just be able to grow your portfolio investing in tech, quantum, and AI companies by playing things like the earnings and playing things like the new announcements that come out around the company, then I want you guys to watch this video because I'm going to do a full breakdown on why we traded it. And it comes down to three simple steps. And the first step is the market's moving. So this is our market mover analysis step. And essentially, we're saying, is the market seeing growth? So revenue growth and money influx. And then number two, is there actual usage happening with the product in that market? So a really good example would be Apple. You're like, is the market that Apple's in of cell phones and the tech that they have a growing market? Okay, yes, it is. And then you would say, are their products actually being used? Yes, they are. Okay, so we know that they pass the market mover analysis. Now, IONQ, they're in the quantum computing market, and this market is growing, and it's growing very fast. In fact, just in the past year, it's grown over 100%, and it's going to grow faster as a result of AI. So we know quantum computing enables faster and more efficient computing power that's going to drive most likely the growth of AI, and already is. And so then the second question that allows us to determine IONQ's validity is, are they being used right now? And the answer is yes. You could take a look. They were mentioning in their recent earnings yesterday about their CUDA Q with NVIDIA. They have contracts with Lockheed Martin, Air Force Research Lab, and then cloud distribution, so that they're getting to a point where you can use and program their quantum for cloud developers here on Microsoft, on AWS, and on cloud, and they're reporting more usage. The other thing is their product selling. They recently sold a $20 million network system over to, I think it was BPD. Don't quote me perfectly on that. It's another company that now has one of their quantum computers so they can set up a network for communication. So they've got 4 out there for their network, and they're working on. They also work with NASA and Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is notoriously one of the top quantum places. So market, they pass. Then we get into step number 2. So step number 2 is the trifecta. And the trifecta breaks down 3 A, B, and C analysis points for us to determine if there's value potential in IONQ or in any stock. And those 3 trifectas come down to the technical analysis, the fundamental analysis, and the profit, the financial analysis. And so if we look at the technical analysis, what we saw yesterday was they were on this trend. They're in this consistent uptrend recently where they've been bouncing between these levels. You guys see this trend here that's happening. And essentially, we noticed this trend. And as a result of seeing the trend, we saw that it pulled back down here. And it was right here that it was earnings. So they had their earnings yesterday. In their earnings call, they reported, so this chart was overall just support and resistance rising. And usually support, before we get into the next piece, the most easy way to fail in investing is to invest in things that are not already having the direction that you're looking to invest in. So in this case, we're investing in something that's an uptrend. That's really good for us. But at the same time, there's this pattern. You could look anytime there's an uptrend, it means there's higher highs and higher lows. So the highs, those resistance levels, become the support levels, right? The resistance levels, see this resistance right here, becomes the support level. See that support? The resistance level becomes the support. Now, it recently broke a little bit, but that's okay. It started to trend and continue its uptrend. And we saw this trend happening yesterday. So this is where we get into the financials. It was right here around their earnings call where they reported their financials. So IONQ stock. They got a $7 billion market cap. They just reported their financials. Now, their earnings per share, it came in a little bit low, but their revenue, they surprised on their revenue by about 1%. So the revenue came in higher. Now, while their earnings per share wasn't perfect, that they missed it there, the revenue was up and their net income dropped significantly. So their increased significantly, and they closed the gap on the negative net income. So because they were able to increase their revenue and actually drop down and have a closer net income to what is a desirable positive net income, that put them in a positive situation financially. So the next piece, which is the news, there was a recent news catalyst that came out with IONQ that indicates they'll see more cash influx. And this bill was a bill for the United States government to invest $2.7 billion into specifically quantum computing. And this bill, it just recently passed. And in the last month, they pledged that it passed. So for that reason, what happens? The influx of cash is set to go to companies like IONQ. In fact, IONQ, right here, you can see CEO at the time, Peter Chapman, was one of the main people that was talking and helping push that legislation through, or talking with the senator. And then also Microsoft was in there as well, who is a big partner with IONQ. And what happens when that gets pushed through? That's good news. So that's part of why this trend has been happening for quantum, why we see quantum start to recover a little bit. And look at that, with earnings on QBTS, they're up 26% so far today. That's tremendous. So as we start to see that move, that's what led to us buying IONQ yesterday at $22. No, $22. Let me get this right. 20. Cancel. There we go. $29.50. So that was right here. $29.50. We bought right here at their earnings call, and we sold here at market open. And when we sold for $30.30. So we basically rode this swing, $29.50, up to here, which is about 8% swing. So the financials made sense, the news made sense. So the trifecta was checking out. That's why we traded it. And then we get into step number 3 in our 3-step process, which is the profit plan, the margins for profit, the risk. And we saw this trend. We looked at it, looked like less risk, but more profit. And we traded it. It's about an 8% swing, and we sold for about a 6% profit at market open. It was somewhere around $300 to $400 right at market open. And so the reason that we now are starting to look at IONQ again is because it did pull back down. So when it comes to IONQ, you see this pull down, it sold off, and now it's starting to recover. It's already had a pretty significant recovery after that sell down of about 6%. So We're going to watch it closely as it is still holding above this support line that is the overall uptrend for IONQ. And maybe, who knows, we get to play this next swing up to here, from here up to that $32 range, which is about an 8% swing again. So that was the trade that we made in the last really about 15 to 16 hours. And that's how it went down. So moving forward with IONQ, we'll be watching to see if it can hold this level and what it does throughout the rest of the day. And we just wrapped up our live session where we sold live. And if you ever want to see my live entries and my exits, see which AI, quantum, and space stocks we invest in, and you get to see how we trade each and every day. And you can learn how to grow your portfolio consistently in a way that is able to focus on the AI markets, then I would encourage you guys simply take a look at the second link in the description. It's Stockmates, and we go live there at market open. Would love to have you there. So thank you guys again for watching. We have a huge sale there. It's not going to get better than this. If you want to check it out, again, it's that second link below. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.